everybody, it's Graham L with the Bitcoin Vigilante. I am here in Hong Kong with longtime friend Reina Chicas from My Premier Bitcoin.
Yeah,
we interviewed you a year and a half ago when I was in El Salvador.
Correct, yeah.
And I think did we see you in Vegas? We saw you in Vegas. No.
No. I've never been to the US yet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're here on the other side of the planet.
Literally.
Literally.
Like you have to go literally on the other side of the planet, yeah.
And it's just so great to see you because what you've done with My Premier Bitcoin and how that's growing and how it's becoming now an international thing. And here we are. So tell us, I think I interviewed, it was probably February of 2024, when I was in El Salvador. And you were just saying how it was just starting to kind of grow outside of El Salvador and going to other countries. So what have you been doing in the last year? Where have you gone?
Yeah.
Tell us everything that My Premier Bitcoin is doing.
Of course, yeah. It just made me realize how crazy it is, like how much can change in a year. Like in general, in life, in the organization. So last year when we spoke, we were already, of course, developing programs. We had a Bitcoin diploma. We've grown to create, the path to develop more programs. We've now put our mission and our path to go global and not focus just in El Salvador anymore. There's still going to be education, but online and for everybody, basically. We're still having some underground, teachers, communities that are still learning with us. And so at the moment, our focus has been also, developing more programs, more options, more open source software and stuff. So translations, design, and all of that is much easier. My first Bitcoin is introductory Bitcoin education, but also for different levels. So we want to do Bitcoin for juniors now, which is for kids from 6 to 11, which we're going to launch at Adopting Bitcoin. We're going to do the test with the kids, then we're going to do for teens, and then even the Bitcoin diploma can have a light version because, there's people that don't have advanced education, sometimes people that didn't even finish high school. So then that becomes kind of tricky. They don't have that reading, developed as well. And on top of that, our node network has just exploded. Just here in Hong Kong, we've met with 3 different people from Seoul, from Hong Kong, the guys that have translated the diploma to Japanese, to Vietnamese, and to Korean.
Wow,
so it is we just see the need to serve the community more and a step back, like I said, from what the project started in El Salvador, but now it's a global movement, basically. So we're not gonna be My First Bitcoin El Salvador anymore, which is gonna be My First Bitcoin, which is the global network.
Well, Bitcoin is a global thing, so it really should be. So how many countries is the curriculum, how many languages is it in right now?
It is in 15 languages.
15?
15,
okay.
Yeah, it's in 15 languages. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 59 projects in over 30 countries. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It is. So that's what it made us realize. It's we need to put our full time and energy on serving the community in general, but then the network as well. And it's very, my favorite part of Bitcoin is that, we all meet each other. We've met a lot of people here that we didn't even know that they were teaching the diploma. We didn't even know that they translated. They have just used it because that's the beauty of open source. So we are just also trying to meet and help others to build on top of that, to make it easier for them to build on top of open source resources.
Okay, so, and I love your story. It's worth telling again. I think you showed up to Adopting Bitcoin in 2022.
Yeah.
Had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
And then a year later, when I was there emceeing, I introduced you.
Yeah.
And you were like...
We've been besties since then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was such a great story because I remember then in November of 23 when I was at Adopting and I introduced you, there was a woman in the audience who was Salvadorian, didn't know anything about it, and she was just like, what is this? And I was like, well, you need to listen to Reina.
Yeah, connect.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's one of the parts, not because, it happened to me, but it's something that I try to encourage everybody, but women especially, because of course we feel a little bit shy or not showing up at a meetup because we see a lot of men. In the technology industry in general, there are less women. So in Bitcoin as well, there are, I mean, I'm very surprised in Hong Kong though, that is like, it's very easy to feel 50-50.
There's so many women here. It's amazing.
Women,
This is the most women I've ever seen at a Bitcoin conference.
Me too. Yeah, exactly. Oh, absolutely. So when I go back to LATAM or even in Europe, is that like it's just sometimes taking that first step, right? Like just grab some courage, and it is what it is. It's easier to said than done, but go for it, do it. Courage, make that first step, because you really don't know what is in a store over there for you, not just on life changing. You don't have to switch your life 180 degrees and then work in Bitcoin, but you meet so many amazing people. I love it. Like it's, the fact that you met very like mission driven people that is just looking to do something good in the world, which we kind of need at the moment.
Yes, we do.
And I'll say that that's part of taking that first step, going to adopted Bitcoin, going on my own because I didn't know anybody. So I would just try to just encourage others, because we all have something to share, something to even if it's just a one-on-one interaction. Yeah. The world needs your talent, needs your potential, it needs your lenses in the world. We all have something to share.
It's so amazing. I mean, I just interviewed a woman from Thailand, and so her whole journey into it, and you're from El Salvador, and it's this thing I love, it's a global community.
Yeah.
And since you've been now traveling a lot with My Premier Bitcoin, where have you gone, and what are some moments or experiences that really stay with you, oh wow, this is why I'm doing this, or something that you're just I can't believe, I'm from this little small town in El Salvador, now here I am and wherever. Tell us some of those stories.
Oh, absolutely. It's I think at this point it's a little bit of everything. Sometimes it's not even with a person, it's you're just on a panel and then you see someone kind of noting of what you're saying, and because they relate. And then at the same time, I think coming to conference like this one, on a city that is so exotic like Hong Kong, you feel at the same time, I feel two things. I feel so grateful with life, but at the same time so tiny in this space, the big buildings and stuff that we don't have in El Salvador.
There's no cities like this in El Salvador.
And then it makes you realize, man, there is so much out there. And one, we don't have to want to do it all ourselves. We have people that we can lean on to help us to spread the word. And then when you are having a bad day, man, it's just like your troubles, but it's just so much people going on in the world that you don't have to make a big storm about it. So I will say that helped me, because in our job, while working on Bitcoin, reading the news and stuff, sometimes it can feel a little bit heavy because you see what is happening, because we've tried to cultivate more critical thinking, because we try to look up for these scenarios and things happening so we can show people that is actually something going on and that there is a potential. We fix the money. Yes, there are bad news, but there are also good news. So I think it is... Yes, sometimes one-on-one interaction. I'm trying to think of one, but maybe there have been so many lately that I'm like, okay, what we do, it is important, but it is better if we see the potential in collaboration and not competition. Because I'm like, okay, I didn't know that you were using the materials, and then that's when, to me, clicks. Oh, okay, it's not for nothing, right? All of those hours and meetings and burnout sometimes of trying to move things forward. When someone is using it and is telling me this is exactly what we needed, people need to learn more about this is making it so easier for us to come to this school and teach, it's all worth it. Yeah, that's when it's all worth it.
So, and how do you see, you live in El Salvador, but you're traveling all over the world. How do you see, El Salvador's kind of gone through some changes a little bit. So
a little bit.
A little bit. So how do you see that? How do you see your country and then the rest of the world?
I think there is different situations happening in every country. For example, coming from El Salvador, we see Europe and we see, well, maybe not Asia, but let's say Europe. I was in Europe this summer, and it was a goal in my life to go and travel to Europe and stay there for a little while. And we see Europe like so high up, like from El Salvador, it's like, oh, like Paris, Madrid, and etc. And when you go there and you're like, oh, hold on, like it's very unsafe as well. There is so many homeless people. It's very dirty. Nobody is very friendly. So I'm like, okay, something is like it's off as well. Yeah, when in El Salvador, if it's something that, of course, I'm gonna say it's much better. It is safety. We've been through a period, and now there is a different one. But to me, in a sense, governments and politicians are going to be governments and politicians all along, all the time. But it's a shame, like in a sense, because Europe has been this pinnacle of culture, architecture, language, art, and beauty. And seeing that kind of scramble, I'm like, what can we expect from us? But at the same time, it's like, okay, maybe it's kind of like our time to step up and stand out and help out. Like I have met people from Spain. It's like, what is happening is so cool, what you guys are doing. And I'm like, but at the end of the day, it's up to everybody in our own countries and our own communities to try to create and help with some good change. But I get it, like if I had the opportunity, let's say, to live somewhere else, I'll probably do it as well, but as a opportunity to grow, to learn. I mean, El Salvador is a small country as well, so I don't have like a very strong, like opinion on people that either wants to move to El Salvador or move out, because that's what life is for. We're free. Yeah.
And I think too, it's like, I mean, the thing about like, what happened in El Salvador has been great. I mean, it's been, it's amazing what the first country to do it, but when Bukele made Bitcoin legal tender and he locked up all the gangs, I said, that's great. But I want to see other countries adopt this. And the thing that I'd like to see is everybody just do what they started in El Zonte. Just start circular economies in all over the place. Don't wait for like governments to do whatever.
Exactly.
Like just start the circular economies.
And they're not going to fix your life either.
No.
That's the problem as well. I think sometimes a country or a society wants to put, we voted for you, so fix it. No, they're not going to come for you, not in a million years. So I think that happens. I feel like it was something that was happening in the Bitcoin community. Like if you didn't move to El Salvador, you weren't a Bitcoiner enough. And I'm like, why? Right? Like, exactly. So I'm like, no, because why are you going to trade countryside in Italy for a city in El Salvador? Like, has no sense. Like, makes no sense. So
well, the thing, I mean, when I was living there for a couple months, and it was beautiful, and I love El Salvador, and I want to go back. But I thought, and a lot of people were moving there. I said, well, that's great, but everyone can't move to El Salvador. It's a small country.
Exactly,
so everybody needs to create an El Salvador wherever. Like, that's what I think.
Exactly.
Like, and again, when you, like, talking to Michael Peterson about how they started Bitcoin Beach in El Zonte, and, like, that's how it's going to get done. So I always tell people, wherever you live, start a circular economy where you live. Just go to your local store and say, hey, you should start accepting Bitcoin. And just slowly orange pill them. Just show them a little Lightning app. And put a little Bitcoin sign in the window, and then start going there and spending your sats there.
And then also context matters. So you're not going to come and change the world from a completely different culture and perspective and background. I don't know, from Latam to Africa or from Europe to Asia. No, like you trust on your own people. And at the same time, it's not like you have to build El Salvador per se. I mean, do better. Like learn from the mistakes of others. And you're like, okay, I see this is happening, so I'm going to try this way, or what is happening that would not work here because this is how we are. For example, they were telling me earlier today that students here are very like study, like they are so used to like curriculum and classes and this, so the programs that we do like are very good for them. And I was telling them the story how we have to adapt that to LATAM because people like it feels it's longer. So it's so many different contexts that only the people in there understand. So same, right? Like with El Zonte and Bitcoin Beach, for example, see and learn what happened and how you can even make it better and learn from mistakes on your own community. Like if you are in Thailand, if you are in Vietnam, if you are in Hong Kong, you and out of everybody are going to understand better your own neighborhood.
Yeah. So I live in Santa Monica, California. It's a little beach town in LA, and I go to a lot of local meetups there. And this guy, Terrence and another guy started the Bitcoin office in Santa Monica, and it's a whole different animal because it's Los Angeles, but they got the mayor on board, and they got little businesses to start adopting, and they had a little weekend event, and it was like, it's what you're saying. They're people that have lived there a long time that understand the politics and understand the culture of that town and what's going to work and what isn't, because it's a different animal than El Salvador. It doesn't have people who are like, let's say, don't have access to traditional banking.
Yep.
Which is a different hurdle in a first world country because everybody has traditional banking. So they're like, why do I need? So you help explain to them, well, in the context of their life, how Bitcoin can
relatable to them, to their own life. Oh, absolutely. And it's a different monster as well to deal with politicians, like with politics in a small country, in a bigger country, and even sometimes even with employees. Like at the end of the day, in order to keep things moving, we need money, and we can work as a volunteers or we can go full time. But either or, we need to pay the bills sometimes. So even that sometimes, let's say foreigners moving to El Salvador wanted to open companies, and they say someone from Germany or like people that is very high driven and they understand how it works, and then the Latin culture is different. Sometimes not for the best, but it's just different. People is there late. So then you have these cultural shocks because you think that just because you come with an idea, then all of a sudden it's going to be in people's brain. And it takes time, and especially when it's human nature sometimes to be resistant. And I feel like a lot of things in Bitcoin are not just about understanding what it is, like if it's technology, if it's money, it's very psychological as well. Once you start understanding what is actually going on in the world, and then you feel like it's kind of like broken, it's a feeling, and it's uncomfortable, and sometimes we don't want to face it, so we'd rather stay in the other side, so we don't have to deal with that and take responsibility.
So last question here, where do you see Bitcoin going? Where, not just in terms of price, but in terms of adoption, in terms of education, since that's what you guys focus on at My Premier Bitcoin. Where do you see it going?
Oh, I have so much enthusiasm for where it's going, because from everybody's trench, I see them see the potential. Even now, with all the crypto noise and stuff, I see people also trying to get those people already into Bitcoin only. So in areas like Hong Kong, for example, that are financial hubs, even in financial hubs, like what you mentioned, everybody's banked. There's no problem with that. But they are starting to feel the struggles of inflation. They are starting to see how much control is happening, how much surveillance is happening. People is starting to wake up in a good way. So I see everybody's just gonna click it. It's just gonna click for them. It's like, oh, okay, that's what these people mean with decentralization or with transparency or censorship resistance. So I see so many different, not only projects or companies, but so many real NGOs these days using Bitcoin for activism, for corporations, for education, for grassroots, for treasury. It's just about to get better, let's say, and it's also about to get even more louder. So even then, it's when we have to keep our feet on the ground, have your circle of trust, because at the same time, when you were telling us off camera about the fight between right, left, I believe that that's not something that they are going to like. If we are getting together on some.
If everybody gets along, they don't want that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So there's going to be a lot of noise. There's going to be a lot of hate online as well. You post something and then they hate you just because you have a Bitcoin t-shirt. Just take it easy, deep breath, grow some thick skin is what it is. And just live your life, because you cannot control that. Yeah.
Well, cool. Where can people follow you online?
Well, I have X, Twitter, Reina, Chicas,
Yes.
number 2, and my first Bitcoin underscore and X as well, and our website myfirstbitcoin.io.
Right on,
Yeah.
right on. I follow my first Bitcoin. I've retweeted photos and seeing them. So go to my Twitter, which is at Graham Elwood,
Yeah.
and you'll see her Twitter handle and my premier Bitcoin. So thanks for watching, everybody. Like, share, subscribe, do all that cool stuff to support what we're doing. If you're watching this on my Graham Elwood YouTube channel, go to my new YouTube channel, which is Bitcoin Hollywood. Check that out. We're doing more entertainment and stuff like that about Bitcoin over there. There'll be sports. We're doing everything. We met the Bitcoin boxing guys. Follow the money, connect the dots, and get the truth and stack sats. Thanks for watching.